So there's been a lot of confusion regarding Quantum Break's resolution on the Xbox One. First, let me say this. Quantum Break's resolution is not a deciding factor or a deal breaker for any practical person. Quantum Break's resolution is not going to change anybody's mind on whether or not they're going to buy the game, right? Nobody's going to be all excited for Quantum Break and have it on their buy list when they think it's 1080p and then hear about, oh, it's 720p now? Oh, well, not getting that. No practical person is going to do that, right? And the same in the opposite scenario. No person is going to know that Quantum Break is 720p and then learn if it is 1080p. Well, it's 1080p now. I'm going to want to get that game. Got to put that on the list to buy. No, but that's not going to be a determining factor. People who were going to get the game are going to get the game regardless. And that's not me saying resolution or frame rate doesn't matter. Those technical things absolutely do matter, especially to me, right? They do matter. It's just not a deal breaker or a deciding factor, in my opinion, for any practical person on whether to buy or not buy the game. What it does do, though, is if the game is on multiple platforms like it is, then I'm going to obviously decide to buy it on the platform that I could play it at a higher resolution and higher frame rate. That's all it is. And that's how I deal with things on consoles. Like, for example, if there's a game that's coming out on both PC and consoles, but that game runs at 1080p 60 frames on consoles also, then I don't mind getting it on consoles. I'll get it on console, right? Even though on PC I could run it at a higher resolution, I'm fine with getting it on consoles as long as it at least, right, that's the standard. If it runs at least on 1080p 60 on consoles, I'll get it on consoles. Yeah, I could go all the way up to 4K on PC, but in most cases 1080p 60, that's good enough for me, so I'll get it on console, right? But like Quantum Break situation, yeah, that's definitely something I'm gonna get on PC. Now, so in regards to the frame rate, like I said, the resolution, there's been a lot of confusion. Initially, a long time ago, Remedy stated that, their target resolution was 1080p, right? Obviously 30 frames per second. Digital Foundry got their hands on a older build of the game, which they found that the game was, for the most part, some elements of the game and most parts of the game were apparently running at 720p. And this caused this whole storm, and people, this whole uproar, because people, were arguing like, oh, that's not what it's gonna be. Quantum, some people were calling Digital Foundry wrong and attacking Digital Foundry for their findings. But apparently, Remedy came out and stated that multiple times and admitted that it's actually not native 1080p, depending on how you look at it. So Remedy explained that they used advanced techniques to achieve 1080p, but they stated the issue regarding Quantum Break's resolution is, quote, talking about resolution as it traditionally is understood is complicated. What that pretty much means is they are using these different unconventional, untraditional methods to achieve 1080p, which is not necessarily native 1080p by traditional standards, speaking of resolution, pretty much. I'm going to read what they said further on. They said Quantum Break's 1080p output is a temporal reconstruction from 4 previous 720p 4 times MSAA frames. This approach gets us high pixel quality in combination with complex shading and effects, allowing us to achieve a cinematic look. However, varying sample counts between passes and temporal upscaling makes talking about resolution as it is traditionally understood complicated in the case of Quantum Break. Now I'm going to tell you exactly what this is like. This is just like the scenario of Killzone Shadowfall. And coincidentally, it was actually Digital Foundry, the ones that did the technical test on Killzone Shadowfall and learned that it was not actually native 1080p. It was actually pretty much the same thing that Remedy is saying now. Guerrilla Games said then that they used advanced techniques and unconventional methods to reach 1080p on Killzone Shadowfall, which, by the way, Sony and Guerrilla Games got a class action lawsuit filed against them because of that whole debacle with Killzone Shadowfall's of resolution, right? I don't remember if it was settled or how that ended up, but I'm going to tell you what I understand from this. Because obviously if these are developers and they're having a hard time explaining it, right? I can only tell you what I'm understanding from this, from what I remember about the Killzone article and what Remedy is saying now. From what I understood is they are saying they are using this method of combining lower resolution frames, combining them together to increase the actual pixel count of each frame to equal up to 1080p. Like I said, that's what I get from reading and understanding both of their explanations. And apparently it's an unconventional method, like I said, that's not the traditional way of reaching 1080p. So I don't exactly know. Like I said, I'm not a developer. That's just, what I understood from my aptitude of knowledge. But that's it. Let me know what y'all think about this. I'm out of here. Peace.